Welcome into our leadership across the table. We're so proud to have Matt Collins on today with the Magnolia Foundation. A lot of folks in the community know about you and your wife, but a lot of folks don't. And I was really eager to get you in. The more I've learned about the foundation and everything, as estate planners, we're always looking at charitable giving, kingdom planning, tithing, people giving to nonprofits, churches, charities, and St. Jude comes up a lot, rightfully so, and Wounded Warriors and all this stuff. And what people need to understand is there's a lot of an amazing work that's right here in the Upper Cumberland Plateau that people need to consider. And a lot of folks don't know you, Matt. And so if you would kind of just introduce yourself, your family, and kind of what was the genesis to the Magnolia Foundation.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Matt Collins. My wife, Macy, and I, we've been in Cookeville for about 10 years. We're parents of 3 girls, Hattie, Lainey, and Davy, who's our youngest. Okay. And before the Magnolia Foundation, I spent a career in ministry. And so I worked in the church, and my wife was a school teacher. She's been at Sycamore, Allgood, Capshaw, so she's made the tour of schools
all
around
the public
here.
elementary schools.
Yeah, she's made the tour. Yeah, and so that was kind of what our life was for a while. We're originally from the Nashville area.
Okay.
But yeah, so everything changed for us in March of 2020. So the tornado that came through Cookeville, our family was directly impacted by that storm. At the time of the storm, on March the 3rd of 2020, we had our oldest 2 girls, Hattie and Lainey. Our youngest was not born yet. Hattie was 4.5, and Lainey was almost 1.
Okay.
And so that tornado hit our house directly, and as a result of that storm, we lost our oldest daughter, Hattie. She was, like I said, she was 4.5.
And she was the oldest.
She was the oldest, right. So she would be, this year in 2025, her birthday is in a couple months, and she would be 10.
Yeah.
And so that experience was what you would imagine it would be. It's horrible.
And you put the key word imagine it, because until you have lived through a horrific tragedy, all you can do is imagine, but it would be the worst thing, of course, to happen to someone. Right,
yeah. And I mean, it changed everything about our lives. And so, we moved back to Nashville for a while to live with my in-laws. Yeah. And by the time we came back here, it was in the middle of COVID. And so I kind of went back to work slowly after several months back at the church. I was working at college side.
You're on staff at college side as in ministry, trying to pick back up and go back to work.
Come back to work, and I really struggled, and I did that for several more years. But even while I was in ministry, I was just having a hard time, not knowing kind of what to do. Is ministry still what I should be doing? Should we still even be living in Cookeville? Should we go back to where our family was from? Just had a lot of struggles with kind of where we were and what we were doing. And our story was very public, for whatever reason. Hattie's face kind of rose.
It kind of was, when you think about the horrible tornado that came through, that's whether people knew you personally or not, that's kind of what, is part of that event. Your family.
It just happened that way. Yeah. And, we had a lot of support. I mean, from just people in the community, people in our, specifically in churches around here, and then all over, we had support. I guess at some point in time, we just wondered what happens to other families that walk through this kind of stuff.
It's kind of like, y'all were both obviously employed, and you had a ton of support both in your churches and in your families. It's like, that's not the issue. It's like there's just a huge void in our life, and what do you do?
What do you do? What do you do? And so we, as a parent, as a father, you have all this love for your child. When your child is not there, where does your love go? Yeah. Right? And so we kind of sought out like a place to kind of give our love for Hattie. And so we tried several different things. We have a scholarship at Tech now with her. It's endowed with her name on it. That didn't really give us what we were looking for. And, you know, we ended up saying, hey, what if we just try to help some families who've lost kids? There was no dream or no plan for this to be like immediately some kind of full-time situation where we were just rolling and rolling and rolling. But it said, hey, we just want to try to help some families. We identified what we thought were pretty important things that we could do. And so in 2023, you know, we got everything off the ground in terms of all the legalities and lawyers and CPAs and everything. And so we started this 501c3 called the Magnolia Foundation.
Once you get it done, it's like, it's somewhat smooth sailing. But yeah, we don't do a ton of nonprofit work, but talking to the Exceptional Being founders and others, nonprofits are, it's not the least regulated thing in society.
It's a little different. And so once we got that going, you know, and all the legal stuff behind us, we drove to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital, and we just said, hey, we've got this, you know, nonprofit. We don't know if there's anything out there that can help families who've lost kids. Our experience was we never connected with anybody that does that.
Obviously, y'all were looking for answers. There was nothing there.
There was nothing there. And so we went to Vandy and we said, can we help? And they said yes. And they started sending families to us. And it became really apparent really quickly that there was a huge gap that we had kind of stumbled into. And so within 6 to 8 weeks of that conversation with Vanderbilt, I had resign our position at the church, and you know
the writing was on the wall.
We were rolling. This was it. Yep.
Okay, so 2023 Foundation's live. We've got it, and very quickly talking with the hospital and others, you're realizing, families are coming in, and there's a huge need here. Okay, so and I kind of looked at the foundation stuff before. You know, obviously I met with you, but kind of go through the mission statement. But like, what are the key things that you can service if someone goes through a tragedy?
Sure. So we serve families who have lost a child from a live birth, and that's an important distinction.
Yes.
So we don't have the capacity to serve like families who have experienced miscarriage or stillbirth. It's a huge population of people. We just don't have the capacity to do it. Yep. And so from a live birth until you're 18 years old. So if there's a minor child that passes away, we serve those families. Okay. We do it in three pretty distinct ways. One of those is with assistance with funeral expenses. And so that kind of encompasses what you might think of. So funerals, burials, cremations, headstones. Yeah. Basically, if a funeral home would help out with that, we can assist financially with it. Okay,
so financial aid for end of life services and things like that. That's a big thing.
That's
you guys
yes.
do. Okay.
And so we do that. The second thing that we do is we help with counseling. Okay. And so there's a couple of different tracks that we do that in. One of those is just very traditional therapy and counseling services. So we'll kind of get you started. We pay for 7 sessions. So that's for the parents or siblings of the child. Right. And so we'll get them kind of going down the road with 7 sessions of that. There's a couple ways that we do that, but that's essentially what we do there. We also have some support groups that we've launched, one for moms and one for dads. And so we've got people that run that. And so we'll have 6 to 8 moms at a time. Those online moms from all over will join in for 8 weeks consecutively. And so they can do that. So we've got the counseling individual, and we have these support groups as well.
The support groups, we're in a very lonely society. It kind of has become that way very quickly from like the 70s to now, just with the advent of cell phones and social media, even not only the elderly, but now everybody, right? It's just becoming, and when you look at like Gen Z, the stats are already off the charts with mental health disorders and loneliness and isolation, and there's just less community. The support groups, in addition to the therapy, gives them kind of that off-ramp, right, into a community to plug into. Correct. So we're not just in our own echo chambers in our heads. Is that part of that too?
Yeah, we want people to realize that they're not alone, right? Yeah. When we lost Hattie, you just don't know how many people have lost children until you kind of step into it. There's a lot of people that have. And people don't talk about it, so you don't have the chance to know. And so we've just been able to create these groups of moms, specifically moms, and they connect with each other, and we kind of lead them through an 8-week program and go from there. The third thing that we do is probably the thing that I care about the most, which is called commemorative care. And what that is just long-term follow-up, like curated gift giving to families who've lost a child on their child's birthday, the anniversary of loss, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and Christmas for several years after loss or after we connect with them. And so like we just got done, mailing out Father's Day gifts at the beginning of the week. And, we sent those to dads who have lost a child in 12 different states.
Man, that's huge. Yeah. And so it just goes on for, I guess, the foundation based on resources and stuff, but for several years after.
Yeah, for several years after. Yeah. And just really the goal there is to give families something tangible that they can honor their child with, a really nice gift to hold on to. But then also just to reinforce that there's somebody there that remembers.
Just thinking of you on that day.
We are thinking about you. We know we haven't forgotten you, haven't forgotten your child. And so we think that's really important.
I think that's huge. The tangible aspect versus just getting into the group and talking it out. And so that's obviously the birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, that kind of thing.
Christmas and the anniversary of loss. Yeah.
Just can't imagine going through the holidays, especially in those immediate, years thereafter. The counseling, is that up to the family that comes to you to select their therapist? You say, hey, if you guys need help, we'll help you find resources, but otherwise let me know who you're going through, and we'll set you up on a private pay or out for, again, the 8 sessions.
It's kind of both, right? Okay. So if there are families that know where they want to go, then that's great, and we can support them that way. More times than not, families don't know where to begin.
They've never been to.
They've not been, and so we have connections all over that we work with. So if you come to us from Cookeville, from Murfreesboro, from Memphis, from Chattanooga, we've got people that we work with that if you don't know where to start, we can get you started.
Is this a Tennessee, largely servicing Tennesseans from Memphis to Johnson City? Is that what you're looking at in your foundation? The referrals come in the state, or can you service out of state?
We service out of state all the time. Oh, okay. It's primarily in Tennessee. So the way that we work is through hospitals.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mostly children's hospitals, and so there are 7 children's hospitals in Tennessee. We have official referral partnerships with 6 of them. So Le Bonheur in Memphis, Erlanger in Chattanooga, Vandy and Centennial in Nashville, East Tennessee Children's in Knoxville, and then Niswonger in Johnson City. So those children's hospitals are all over the state. As a result of their locations, we get families from other states as well, right? So like if you go to Le Bonheur in Memphis, you could be coming from Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma. Same thing goes across the state, right? So we have families in about 15 states that we've connected with. Most of them are Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. But yeah, it's kind of from all over, and we can serve families from really anywhere in the U.S.
How did your faith, protect you early on? I mean, look what God's done since. It's easy for me to say not going through that though, right? But I mean, look at the ministry that is. I mean, there's no telling how big this is going to get, and which is not great. But I mean, at least there's services for these families. And I mean, talk a little bit about how you and Macy kind of handled this, through your faith in God thereafter.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hard, and it is really hard, right? We have a support, community at church, a community with our family that was incredibly influential in that. We had a really strong connection to each other and to the Lord before all that happened. So all of that was really helpful. And really, I'll speak for myself in this. Here's kind of where I landed. I either choose to believe that I got 4.5 years with Hattie and that was it, or I choose to believe that I'm going to hold her again.
There
There's just no other choice.
That is it. And of course, we all know as Christians, we all, I was actually interviewing our pastor at my church at the River, Steve. We were talking about, how so many teenagers and young adults go through their own crisis in faith.
Right.
Why is there famines? Why are people in North Korea starving to death in the 1990s? Why is there rape? Why is there tragedies like that happened to Hattie? Why are all these, the question of evil is something we all struggle with, and these just things that we don't understand. But at the end of the day, it all goes back, back to faith. And you obviously, that's where you and Macy, went forward with, and it really strengthened your faith. And what you're doing with this ministry is obviously God is present. Yeah. How many families do you know offhand? Kind of how many families y'all since 2023? I guess what we're two and a half years in.
Hundreds. I don't know what the number is exactly. I can tell you, hundreds. Year to date in 2025. In the first 5 months of 2025, we've connected with about 150 families just in the first 5 months of this year.
I think I saw it on your website that Tennessee, for whatever reason, seems to have a higher incidence of tragedy. What is leading to that?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer.
Okay, but it is.
So the state of Tennessee is 24% higher than the national average in child fatality. So on average, there'll be almost 1,000 1,000 children that pass away in Tennessee this year, which is well above average in the United States. Nobody really knows what to attribute that to, other than it just is.
It just is, yeah. And it could year to year and stuff. I just didn't know if there was anything that jumped out. Yeah. So on your team, your wife's part time. You mentioned you had a licensed clinical social worker that does a lot of intake and gets everything going with these folks. Do you personally go down and meet with each family, kind of across Tennessee?
So we don't go meet in person on by rule, right? We have met with families before. Depends on location and need and desire.
Well, once again, I guess there could be hundreds of these things that your families are servicing annually, right?
So we get new family intakes in literally every day. Okay. And so we talk to every family on the phone, typically within 24 to 48 hours after loss. And so as soon as they come in, we schedule a time to talk to them and kind of assess what their needs are. We have those 3 service areas, and they have the ability to participate in any one of those, or all 3 of them if they want to. So we're trying to talk to them pretty quickly.
The inflows of money from donations, donors, church members, all this, it sounds like that has been a growing thing. Are you seeing any challenges right now, or is it really just a matter of getting the word out, doing things like this? Yeah. I mean, as far as the interest in this foundation, are you seeing that is it growing fluidly, or?
Yeah, so we're still trying to figure out kind of what rhythms are in the fundraising world, right? And so
you're getting a crash course, I guess.
We're getting a crash course, right? So we have to raise every penny that we use, right? And so whether it be salaries, whether it be the actual programs and services, funerals, all those things, every penny is fundraised, we are always looking for opportunities to grow our resource base. Yeah. Because we always have families that come in. I mean, literally every day we have families come in today, 2 already.
You need the funds.
The funds.
I mean, there's plenty of things to do and grow, especially. As estate planners, we're always talking about pre-planning and get your cremation, those conversations are done with our clients that are usually, adults entering into retirement. They could be even younger adults, but it's for them, right? And the thing, even if you have people that are really forward focused, which a lot of these folks aren't even there yet in their lifetime, that they don't have their own planning done, but no one's thinking about that for their children. Right. And so these are almost every family. That's not accounted for, and people don't necessarily have $20,000 sitting on the sideline. Correct. So, what I just want to say for the viewers is we have so many folks that are interested. Obviously, the lion's share of their wealth goes to children, goes to grandchildren. If we're looking at charities, everyone always asks us for resources. It doesn't all. St. Jude's wonderful. They're a Tennessee-based charity. They're also, they receive hundreds of millions of dollars annually. There are great things here, and it sounds like this foundation desperately needs the funds. Absolutely. I mean, there's 1,000 families a year that this could go to help. I was going to ask you, as far as the social work team, do you see a future where some of the counseling would be in-house, or really? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we do, and that's our dream is to have some of our counseling in-house. Now, Kathy, who works for us, she runs our grief groups, and she's able to do that. and has a lot of experience in that way. But we are hopeful that we'll be able to have in-house counselors that we can connect families with immediately.
Yeah, I think the future for this is just so bright. One thing that I will just say, like as an observer of foundations like this, I was talking to Michael and CG, the founders of the Exceptional Being. Our government is not the answer for things like this, in my opinion. What they're doing with their mission group, servicing special needs families, what you're doing and helping families with live birth deaths, of adult children, it's a public-private partnership, and private charities and foundations are the way to fill these gaps, and the money's there. It's just a matter of finding the people, but we want to give. People want to give if they know where their money's going, and it's not going to be the role of government to come in and fill these voids. It's going to have to be people like yourself that have a passion and a mission for it. And in your wife's part-time right now, what does Macy do in the foundation?
Yeah, she a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And so
a ton of administrative work.
Yes, a lot of administrative work, a lot of thank you notes. I mean, all of the things that you probably wouldn't lay your eyes on. But that's where she's at.
If people want to give to the foundation, go to the website. Is it magnoliafoundation.org?
Yeah, it's themagnoliafoundation.com.
Okay, themagnoliafoundation.com. There's a way to donate live, I'm assuming, right there on the website.
Right there on the website.
Do that. So go to themagnoliafoundation.com. Is there any social media that they should follow on Facebook or
so
YouTube?
We've got a Facebook and an Instagram page. On Instagram, we're just at Magnolia Foundation. Facebook, The Magnolia Foundation. And that is updated regularly, and you get to see what we're doing. You can also see families that we highlight, families that we have served if they want their stories to be told. And so actually today we posted about a family that lost a child, and their child's story is on there today.
Gotcha. Well, there you have it, folks, with Matt Collins. Thank you for coming out, sir. Like this, share it, get the word out here in Cookeville. For those that don't know about the Magnolia Foundation, we would definitely appreciate